There is a strange truth hidden beneath what the world calls laziness. What appears to be idleness is often a quiet refusal to waste energy on what does not matter. The so-called lazy person is not always without desire. On the contrary, they are often filled with powerful vision. They simply resist effort that feels misaligned with their inner knowing. The truly ambitious soul does not crave constant motion, it craves meaningful movement. It does not seek to exhaust itself climbing every hill, but instead waits, listens, and chooses the mountain that leads to destiny. What others call laziness is sometimes discernment. It is the sacred ability to say, "This is not my path," and to conserve strength for what truly belongs to them. There is an intelligence in this stillness, a deeper mind at work. While others rush, struggle, and scatter their energy in all directions, this person pauses, and in that pause, clarity is born. Inspiration comes not through force, but through alignment. The mind begins to ask, what is the easiest, most direct way to receive what I desire? And this question is not weakness, it is wisdom. For the universe does not reward strain, it responds to belief. When a person believes that life must be hard, they create endless effort. But when one knows that life can flow, doors begin to open with surprising ease. The so-called lazy individual often carries this quiet belief that there must be a better way, and because they believe it, they find it. They do not wish to work harder, they wish to work smarter. They do not wish to chase endlessly, they wish to attract. And in this desire, they unknowingly align with a higher law, the law that what is meant for you will come when you are in harmony with it. This is why you will often see such people create systems, shortcuts, and innovations. They simplify what others complicate. They remove unnecessary steps. They transform long roads into straight paths, not because they lack ambition, but because their ambition is too great to tolerate waste. Understand this. True ambition is not measured by how busy you are, but by how clearly you see your outcome. The one who knows exactly what they want does not need to run in circles. They move with intention. Even their stillness is purposeful. Even their rest is strategic. There is also a deeper truth within them. They trust. They trust that what is theirs cannot be taken. They trust that the right idea will come at the right time. They trust that they do not need to force life to unfold. And in that trust, they release resistance. And when resistance fades, life begins to cooperate. Opportunities appear. Solutions reveal themselves. What once required struggle now feels natural. The path becomes lighter, clearer, almost effortless. This is not luck, it is alignment. So what the world misunderstands as laziness is often a quiet mastery of energy, a refusal to give power to what does not serve, a decision to move only when the movement is guided, inspired, and certain. If you find this within yourself, the desire to avoid meaningless effort, the craving for simplicity, the belief that there must be an easier way, do not condemn it. Refine it, direct it, trust it. For within that stillness lives a powerful force. A force that does not push but attracts. A force that does not chase but receives. A force that knows that the shortest path to success is not through struggle, but through alignment with what is already prepared for you. Laziness is often misunderstood because the world has been conditioned to worship constant movement, endless effort, and visible struggle. Anyone who steps outside of that pattern is quickly labeled as unmotivated or lacking discipline. But beneath what appears to be laziness, there is often something far more powerful at work, a deep inner resistance to wasting energy on what does not truly matter. This resistance is not weakness, it is an instinct for efficiency, a quiet intelligence that refuses to engage in actions that feel unnecessary, forced, or misaligned. The person who is called lazy is frequently someone who questions the traditional path. They do not automatically accept that success must come through exhaustion. They hesitate before committing their time and energy, not because they lack desire, but because they are searching for a better way. Their mind is not idle, it is observing, analyzing, and simplifying. While others are busy doing more, they are trying to understand how to do less and still achieve more. There is a natural tendency within such individuals to avoid complexity. They feel uncomfortable when things are overly complicated, drawn out, or inefficient. This discomfort pushes them to look for shortcuts, Not shortcuts born from carelessness but from clarity. They want the most direct path between where they are and where they wish to be. And this desire is rooted in ambition. A person without ambition would not care about the path at all. But the one who is driven seeks results, and quickly realizes that unnecessary effort is not the same as meaningful progress. This is why many innovations in the world come from those who dislike repetitive or exhausting work. They ask questions that others ignore. Why must this be done this way? Is there a faster method? Can this be simplified? These questions are not asked by those who are content with struggle. They are asked by those who are unwilling to accept it. What looks like laziness is often a refusal to settle for inefficiency. There is also a subtle awareness within such individuals that energy is limited and valuable. They may not express it in disciplined routines or structured plans, but they feel it intuitively. They know on some level that if they spend their energy on tasks that do not truly matter, they will have nothing left for what does, so they conserve it. They withdraw from what feels pointless. They delay action until they find a reason that feels worth their full effort. Look like procrastination or avoidance, but internally it is often a process of alignment. They are waiting, not for permission, not for motivation, but for clarity. They are waiting for the moment when the task feels meaningful enough, simple enough, or efficient enough to engage with fully. And when that moment comes, their energy is not scattered. It is focused, intense, and effective. There is also a deep connection between this kind of laziness and creativity. When a person is not constantly occupied with doing, they have space to think. And in that space, ideas begin to form. Connections appear. Solutions emerge that would never have been seen in the noise of constant activity. What others achieve through effort, they often achieve through insight. This does not mean that all laziness is productive, but it does mean that what we call laziness can hold hidden potential. When guided correctly, it becomes a strength. It becomes the ability to eliminate the unnecessary, to focus only on what truly matters, and to approach goals with precision rather than force. The key difference lies in intention. When laziness is driven by fear, it leads to avoidance and stagnation. But when it is driven by a desire for efficiency, it becomes a tool. It sharpens the mind. It encourages smarter decisions. It reduces wasted motion. It aligns effort with purpose. Such individuals often thrive when they find something that truly resonates with them. Suddenly, the label of laziness disappears. They become deeply engaged, highly productive, and surprisingly disciplined, but only in the areas that feel meaningful and efficient. This transformation reveals the truth that was always there. The issue was never a lack of ambition, but a refusal to invest energy where it did not belong. They are not motivated by pressure or expectation. They are motivated by clarity and simplicity. When they see a clear path, they move. When they understand the purpose, they act. And when they find a way to achieve their goals with less effort and more intelligence, they commit fully. This is why it is important to look beyond appearances. The person who seems inactive may be thinking more deeply than the one who is constantly busy. The one who avoids effort may be searching for a better method. And the one who is called lazy may, in truth, be driven by a quiet but powerful ambition. The desire to achieve more while wasting less, to reach further without unnecessary struggle, to create results that are not only effective but elegant in their simplicity. True ambition is rarely loud, and it is almost never frantic. It does not live in constant motion or endless struggle, but in a quiet certainty about what is meant to be achieved. Many have been taught that ambition must look like tireless effort, sleepless nights, and relentless pursuit. Yet this image is often a distortion. Real ambition is not obsessed with doing more. It is devoted to becoming aligned with what truly matters. It is not about how hard one can push, but how clearly one can see. There is a profound difference between chasing something and allowing it to unfold through alignment. When a person is chasing, there is tension. There is fear of missing out, fear of falling behind, fear that if they stop pushing, everything will collapse. This fear creates resistance, and resistance makes every step feel heavier. Effort increases, but results do not always follow. the individual becomes trapped in a cycle where more work is mistaken for more progress. Alignment, however, operates under a different principle. It begins with clarity, knowing what is truly desired, not what is expected or imposed by others. This clarity brings focus, and focus eliminates distraction. When distractions fall away, energy is no longer scattered. It is directed, intentional, and purposeful. The individual is no longer trying to do everything, they are doing the right things. Ease enters naturally when alignment is present. This does not mean that no effort is required, but it means that effort no longer feels forced. There is a rhythm, a flow, a sense that actions are supported rather than resisted. The mind is not overwhelmed with doubt, and the body is not burdened with unnecessary strain. Work becomes lighter, not because it is insignificant, but because it is in harmony with a deeper sense of purpose. Those who understand this begin to move differently. They do not rush into every opportunity. They do not say yes to every demand. They are selective, not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. They understand that every commitment carries a cost, and they choose only those that align with their vision. This selectivity is often misunderstood as laziness or lack of drive, but in truth it is discipline of the highest order. There is also a shift in how success is perceived. Instead of measuring it by how much effort is expended, it is measured by how effectively energy is used. A single aligned action can produce greater results than countless misaligned ones. This realization transforms the approach to work and life. It encourages simplicity, clarity, and intention. Struggle, in this light, is no longer seen as a requirement for achievement. It is recognized as a signal, an indication that something is out of alignment. When things feel excessively difficult, it is not always a call to push harder, but an invitation to reassess. Is the goal truly aligned? Is the method efficient? Is the effort being directed in the right place? These questions open the door to a more intelligent approach. There is a kind of trust that develops within those who embrace alignment. They trust that the right opportunities will present themselves. They trust that clarity will come when it is needed. They trust that they do not need to force every outcome into existence. This trust does not lead to passivity, it leads to precision. Actions are taken at the right time, in the right way, for the right reasons. This way of moving through life often appears effortless to others. People may assume that success came easily, without recognizing the inner work that made it possible. The clarity, the restraint, the willingness to let go of what does not align, these are not passive qualities. They require awareness, patience, and a deep understanding of oneself. Ambition, in its truest form, is not about constant doing. It is about constant becoming. It is about refining one's vision, sharpening one's focus, and aligning one's actions with that vision. When this alignment is achieved, effort becomes a tool rather than a burden. It is used wisely, not excessively. There is also a sense of freedom in this approach. Without the need to prove oneself through endless work, there is space to think, to create, and to evolve. This space is where innovation thrives. It is where new ideas are born, where better methods are discovered, and where true progress is made. The individual who embraces ease does not avoid responsibility, they redefine it. Their responsibility is not to struggle endlessly, but to act intelligently, to choose wisely, to focus deeply, to move with intention rather than impulse. This redefinition changes everything because it shifts the source of power from external pressure to internal clarity. In this state, even rest becomes productive. It is no longer seen as a break from ambition, but as a part of it. Rest restores energy, sharpens the mind, and allows deeper insights to surface. It supports the very alignment that makes meaningful action possible. The world may continue to celebrate busyness, but busyness alone does not create results. It creates noise, exhaustion, and distraction. Alignment, on the other hand, creates clarity, efficiency, and momentum. It transforms ambition from a struggle into a process of natural expansion, where each step feels connected, purposeful, and supported, where effort is no longer something to be endured, but something to be directed with awareness, where success is not chased through force, but allowed through harmony between vision, belief, and action. Stillness is often mistaken for inactivity, and restraint is often confused with hesitation. yet both carry a quiet power that is rarely understood. In a world that celebrates speed, noise, and constant motion, the ability to pause appears almost unnatural. But within that pause lies a depth of awareness that movement alone can never provide. The person who knows how to remain still is not doing nothing. They are observing, sensing, and allowing something greater to organize itself before they act. There is a kind of intelligence that only reveals itself when the mind is not overwhelmed by urgency. When everything slows down, details become visible, patterns emerge. What once felt complicated begins to simplify. This clarity does not come from pushing harder or thinking faster, but from creating space for insight to appear. The one who practices stillness gains access to this space, and within it decisions become sharper, cleaner, and far more effective. Restraint plays a similar role. It is not about holding back out of fear, but about choosing not to act prematurely. Many people move quickly because they feel pressure to respond, to prove themselves, or to keep up with others. This urgency often leads to scattered actions and unnecessary mistakes. But the one who practices restraint is not controlled by that pressure. They wait until the moment feels right, until the path is clear, until their action carries certainty rather than doubt. This combination of stillness and restraint creates a powerful advantage. While others exhaust themselves through constant activity, this individual conserves energy. Their focus remains intact. Their actions, when they finally take them, are precise and intentional. They do not waste effort correcting mistakes that could have been avoided with a moment of patience. They move less, but achieve more. There is also a deeper connection between stillness and inner awareness. When the noise of constant doing fades, a person begins to hear something quieter but far more reliable, their own intuition. This inner guidance does not shout. It speaks softly, often requiring silence to be heard. The one who is comfortable in stillness learns to trust this voice. They begin to act not from external pressure, but from internal clarity. This trust transforms the way decisions are made. Instead of overanalyzing every possibility or reacting impulsively, they allow answers to come. They become receptive rather than reactive. And in this receptive state, solutions often appear with surprising ease. What once required effort now feels natural, almost obvious. Stillness also creates the conditions for deeper thinking. When a person is constantly busy, their mind operates on the surface, moving quickly from one task to another without fully engaging with any of them. But when they slow down, they begin to think more deeply. They ask better questions, they explore ideas more thoroughly. This depth leads to insights that are not available to a distracted mind. Restraint ensures that these insights are applied wisely. It prevents the impulse to act on every idea immediately. Instead, it allows time for refinement, for consideration, for understanding the true value of what has been discovered. This process may appear slow from the outside, but it often leads to results that are far more impactful. There is also a sense of control that comes from this way of being. The individual is not pulled in every direction by external demands. They are not easily influenced by trends, opinions, or pressure. They choose their actions deliberately. This control creates stability, and from that stability comes confidence. Not the loud, performative kind, but a quiet assurance that does not need validation. In many ways, stillness and restraint act as filters. They remove what is unnecessary, what is impulsive, what is driven by fear or distraction. What remains is clarity. And from that clarity, the path forward becomes simpler. Not easier in the sense of effort, but easier in the sense of understanding. The world often rewards speed, but speed without direction leads nowhere. Stillness provides direction. Restraint ensures that direction is followed with precision. Together they create a way of moving that is both calm and powerful, where actions are not wasted, where energy is not scattered, where progress is steady and intentional. This approach may not always be visible or easily recognized. It does not draw attention in the way that constant activity does. But its results speak quietly and consistently. It produces outcomes that are thoughtful, efficient, and often ahead of their time. To embrace stillness is to step out of the noise and into awareness. To practice restraint is to step out of impulse and into intention. And within this space of awareness and intention, There is a strength that does not rely on force, a clarity that does not depend on speed, a way of achieving that feels less like struggle and more like understanding, where each action carries purpose, where each decision reflects insight, where the path unfolds not through urgency, but through quiet, deliberate movement.